Well, happy Easter Day, everybody. Isn't this a fabulous day, a fabulous morning? Whatever your circumstances, wherever you are today, today is a day of hope and good news for you and for all of humanity. Today is an exciting day across the world. As the dawn breaks, so does the shadow of the cross. It breaks as light dawns upon it. The darkness in this world is broken by the inescapable light of life. It's the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. It's a day of good news for people in all circumstances today. It reminds me actually of the accounts of Jesus' arrival, his birth, before we hear the account of his rebirth, his resurrection. Matthew 28 says this. That's the account of his resurrection. Early on Sunday morning, as the new day was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went out to visit the tomb early in the morning. I don't know if, like me, you've ever been out on Easter morning and gone out really early to watch the sunrise and to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. I can remember as a teenager we used to go out to, I think it was Rosebery Topping in Teesside, and a bunch of other Christians from the area would just turn up, rock up, we'd praise, we'd worship, read the Bible out loud and watch the sunrise, which in Teesside was very colourful because of the pollution. It reminds me of the words that we hear in Luke chapter 1, 78. This is what it says. Because of God's tender mercy, the morning light from heaven is about to break upon us, to give light to those who sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, and to guide us into the paths of peace. Simeon, who was in the temple when Jesus is presented as a 6-day-old, said something similar. He said, "I've seen your salvation in the person of Jesus, which you have prepared for all people, God. He is a light to reveal God to the nations, and he is the glory of your people Israel." One of my most favourite Easter mornings was a vigil at 5 a.m. or so in Whitby in a convent with a whole bunch of nuns. And I'd been there for the week preparing as a Christian. And on that morning, everybody came in silent into this dark church. And we sat in silence in the dark until one person lit one candle. And then the light began to shine and that darkness was broken. And then that one candle lit one other candle. And that candle lit another and another until the light spread all around the room. And you could see, again, the place was illuminated with the light of life in those candles. And then the nuns went crazy and they shouted and they hollered and they banged pots and pans on the floor and mashed things and made a whole load of noise. Went, hooray! Because they were celebrating the resurrection of Jesus and the light of life coming to the world again. It was a fabulous thing to be a part of. Because Easter Day is something to make a joyful noise about, isn't it? It's something to shout about and get excited about. And whatever your circumstances today, whatever you face, you may face it face to face with the mercy of God, which gives light and shows us the way to the paths of peace. And again, I want to encourage us not to lose the supernatural side of Easter Day, the earth-shattering wonder of what it was and what it meant, the power of this event. That's why the nuns in Whitby went nuts. It's earth-shattering news. Let's read on Matthew 28. They come to the tomb, the two Marys. Suddenly, Matthew 28 verse 2, suddenly there was a great earthquake. For an angel of the Lord came down from heaven, rolled the stone away and sat on it. And his face shone like lightning, and his clothes were as white as snow, and the guards shook with fear when they saw him, and they fell into a dead faint. That is earth-shattering news. The resurrection is earth-shattering news. Just as the event of Jesus' birth attracted a host of angels and supernatural attention, you get the same thing at his resurrection, his rebirth. You get this supernatural event. You get earthquakes, you get angels, you get flashing lights and kind of, whoa! There is nothing normal about the resurrection. And there's nothing normal about your faith and mine. And neither should there be. Ours is let's never sanitize the resurrection. Ours is a supernatural faith. And then the angel speaks to the two women and he says, don't be afraid. I know you're looking for Jesus who was crucified. He isn't here. He's risen from the dead, just as he said would happen. Come and see where the body was lying, and then go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. He'll go ahead of you to Galilee and he'll meet you there. And that's what happens. There's a big kerfuffle. People finally kind of catch up with this kind of earth-shattering news, and they travel to Galilee. And then the Gospel of Matthew concludes in Matthew 28 with two things, with worship and with evangelism. And I would love that to be our Easter Day response, not just today, but in the days, weeks and months and years to come. And so they come, it says in verse 16 of Matthew 28, the 11 disciples gather in Galilee at the mountain where Jesus told them to, and then they see him and then they worship him, but some doubted. And I would say yes to both. Yes, worship is the appropriate response to the risen Jesus. And frankly, so is doubt and kind of bewilderment sometimes. We're not supposed to be able to understand everything about the Christian faith. That is the mystery of faith. Both are okay. It's supernatural, but it's absolutely real. And, you and I can build our future life and our future eternity on the absolute fact of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And from that place of worship, Jesus directs them into something more. He says, I've been given all authority on heaven and on earth, therefore you go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them, as we will on Easter Sunday at the Well Sheffield today, in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Teach these new disciples to obey all I've commanded you, and be sure of this, I will be with you always, even till the end of the age. And so there's an outward focus to that final commission that Jesus gives to his disciples, to you and to me. He says, this joy and this authority is given to me, and so it's given to you. Go into the world. The local church is now the hope of the world. So we carry that good news, don't we? We carry the good news of Jesus to all people, even your neighbours and your work colleagues and the hairdresser and, the gym posse. We carry good news. And so today, may you know worship, may you be an evangelist, may you know the hope of the risen Christ today and every day. I bless you today.